Saturday night's all right for baseball, and the Reds will find their Saturday night spent under the arch. St. Louis, Missouri, game 2 of a 3-game set. Reds and Cardinals, all the action's coming up here on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi again, everyone, with Chris Wells, Jim Day. Hope you're enjoying your Labor Day weekend. Well, last night was a tough one for the Reds as far as pitching goes. A lot of bright spots, though, offensively, and one certainly, Chris, was Scott Schebler.
We always talk about Scott Schebler, how strong he is, and when he makes contact, I mean, the ball sounds different off his bat. Well, the one thing about Schebler here this year, and he has missed some time on the disabled, but his line drive rate is up. His medium hard contact rate is up, too. And boy, oh boy, was it hitting hard last night. That ball was a no-doubter as he dumped it into the right field bleachers up here. We want to see a little bit more of that tonight out of Schebler.
Luis Castillo gets the ball tonight for Cincinnati. His last start against the Cubs, a little rocky, but his last 2 starts against this Cardinals team, maybe some confidence to build on.
Well, 4 times this year against the Cardinals, and the big difference for Castillo is the last couple of times out against the Cardinals, he threw the ball over the plate. He only walked 1 batter in those 2 ball games together, only gave up 3 earned runs and a 10 1/3 combined. You know what I've noticed about Castillo, though, is that when he gets going on a roll, he really becomes electric. His fastball, he's dominating with it, great changeup. He's attacking the strike zone. But if he gets hit around a little bit, he begins to kind of go into a shell, get a little timid, start trying to nibble at the corners, and then you really fall into the prey of some pretty good hitters. You got to remember that the Cardinals are seeing the ball very well. They're confident at the plate. The more aggressive they are, the more aggressive you've got to be. You got to come inside a little bit tonight. I hope Castillo's able to do that.
And one of those guys seeing the ball well is right in the middle of that lineup, Jose Martinez.
Really good breaking ball hitter, one of the best in the league this year from Martinez. He's a guy that, you just can't make mistakes on. He's got a short swing for a big guy, packs plenty of power, and he's on a pretty good 7-game hitting streak right now.
The Cardinals will send yet another rookie to the mound to start tonight. And the Reds have seen this guy before, Daniel Ponce de Leon, and the memories are not so good.
Well, I mean, he went out when he made his major league debut as a starter. Came out and pitched, 7 innings of no-hit baseball against the Reds, and they finally took him out after 116 pitches. But he was a guy that, he doesn't have any stuff that dominates you. He'll come right after you. He's kind of an interesting guy because his repertoire goes like this: fastball, changeup, and cutter. He really doesn't have much of a breaking ball. Everything that comes at you is pretty much straight, but he changes speeds on it.
We have reached the month of September. That means we will turn the clock back and look at the plays of the month in August. We'll do that throughout the evening, and we'll start it next. Jeff Piccoro on deck.
those left-handed bats. Scooter Jeanette last night, 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Scott Schebler had that bullet for a double and crushed a home run. Joey Votto, 2 for 4 with a run. There you see what the left-handed hitters did. 10 for 17. The righties, 4 for 21. So the Reds, when they're healthy and they've got those left-handed bats in the lineup, are so good. All right, August is gone and we are to September. So that means we get to look at the best in August. Kurt Casale had the best average at .333. Suarez had 6 home runs. How about Phillip Ervin chipping in with 16 RBI? DeSclafani had a great month. Wandy Peralta did too, and Cody Reed checks in at .251. And as the calendar turns, that also means we bring up our plays of the month. And play number 5, Michael Lorenzen. Remember this was just a week ago. After the failed bunt attempt, he stands right back in there and he goes yard. 3rd home run versus the Brewers. 4th homer of the season. That ties for most by a Reds pitcher in a single season. Michael Lorenzen. Man, tell you what, that was a lot of fun to watch. 4 more of those coming up in the game. And when we come back here to Busch Stadium, it's September call-ups, and we're going to hear from one of them, Lucas Sims, who'll be pitching out of the bullpen. And you saw that man right there walking out to the bullpen. You might be thinking, who is that guy? Well, he was the key to the Adam Duvall trade in the Reds' mind. It was getting Lucas Sims in return. I was able to talk to him earlier today.
You know, it's exciting always to come into a new clubhouse and meet some new faces and, you know, hopefully start to build some relationships and, you know, hopefully help this ball team or ball club win some games.
How different is it for you because you were a Braves fan and everything and you're playing for Atlanta and all of a sudden you come to a totally new environment?
You know, everybody's goal is to be a professional baseball player, and you know, I'm glad I'm here. I'm excited to pitch, and you know, like I said, I'm gonna go out there and compete like hell and try and win as many ball games as we can.
Now, you have pitched against some of these guys before, so you knew them a little bit, just not personally, right?
Yeah, actually, I played with a couple of these guys. Back in high school with like travel tournaments, or you know, the Reds were in Pensacola in Double-A, so I kind of built some relationships there, and as well as in the fall league. So I had a couple familiar faces that I knew when I came over here, which was nice. And you know, also coming over here with Preston Tucker and Whistler, you know, you kind of go through the whole experience with them as well. Having a familiar face as well makes the transition a lot easier.
Well, as you heard him say Matt Whistler's name, we got to see Whistler last night pitch and perform very well for the Reds. We could get to see the second member of that trade today in Lucas Sims. Well, the first pitch and the lineups are coming up. It's the Reds and the Cardinals, game 2 of this 3-game set from Busch Stadium in St. Louis.
St. Louis, Busch Stadium, the 3rd edition. Game 2 of a 3-game set, Reds and Cardinals. Here's how Jim Riggleman will send them out here tonight. Billy Hamilton will lead off. Jose Peraza, the 2 spot. Votto, Jeanette Suarez, 3, 4, and 5. Shebler in right field. Philip Urban, the start again in left. Tucker Barnhart hanging the signs for Luis Castillo. And on the hill for the Cardinals, another rookie, Daniel Ponce de Leon, his major league debut, 7 innings of no-hit baseball in Cincinnati.
And he's been working really out of the bullpen ever since. In fact, he made a start down in the minor leagues his last time out just to kind of keep him on a little bit of a regular rotation. 26 years old. He was 4 times drafted. Ponce de Leon was. He was drafted by the Rays, the Reds, the Chicago Cubs, and finally from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach. He was drafted 9th round 2014 of that draft for the St. Louis Cardinals. So here he is making a start here, number 2 against the Reds here this evening.
7 innings of no-hit baseball in their Major League Baseball debut since 1908. Only this guy and Ross Stripling for the Dodgers in 2016 at San Francisco. So he made some history in Cincinnati. But by the way, the Reds came off the mat in that game. 2 outs in the 9th. Suarez tied the game with a solo home run, and then they put together back-to-back hits. Winker, Barnhart, a walk by Duvall, and then Dilson Herrera's first career walk-off hit in Major League Baseball. So It was a no-hit night for Ponce de Leon through 7 innings, but the Reds actually won that game. And we are about ready for action as Hamilton, the switch hitter, will bat from the left-hand side against the righty Ponce de Leon. And a swing and a miss, and this game is underway. Crew Chief Jerry Meals calling balls and strikes tonight. Ed Hickox at first base, Gabe Morales at second, John Lipka, the umpire, at third base. And quickly, Ponce de Leon ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Hamilton, a .244 batter, 4 home runs, 28 RBIs. Last 21 games, that's what the Reds are looking for. He hits like that, he'll stay at the top of the lineup. Not this time, though. 1 out. Here's your 4 defensive lineup for the Cardinals. In the outfield, same as last night, O'Neill, Bader, Martinez. Carpenter at third base again, DeYoung, Munoz, Adams at first base, and Yadier Molina, per usual, behind the plate. Hot, sticky night here in St. Louis, 88-degree game time temperature. And first pitch to Jose Peraza is a fastball in for a strike. One ball and 1 strike. As Chris mentioned, 26 years of age is Ponce de Leon, 6'4", big kid. But who's not anymore nowadays in Major League pitching?
Yeah, if you're not big, you throw like you're big.
Yeah.
But he doesn't really seem to throw like he is big. I mean, he's a big, tall guy, has long arms and long legs. I'm sure he has nice extension to play. We may get a measurement on that later in the game, but it looks like he just pitches under control. Fastball very modest at 91, 92. Has a cutter and a changeup.
Hard hit ball, but there's Bader. On the line, Peraza, but an Adam ball, and there are 2 outs in the inning.
You know, it's the one common theme that we've seen from these young Cardinal pitchers coming up. They don't come up as throwers. They come up a little more polished than, than what we're used to seeing. And Ponce de Leon is a pretty good example of that.
Check out our Thrive Inside the Numbers. Joey Votto has reached base safely in 14 straight games versus the Cardinals. .492 on base percentage over that time. 11 hits, 21 walks. Fouled straight back. Counts 1-2 to Votto.
But there's a good example right there of how fast a pitcher is throwing and how fast he appears to be throwing. And he must appear to be throwing a little bit slower than it actually is, because Votto looked like he was right on that pitch and fouled it straight back, which tells me he's just a tick behind.
See what Ponce de Leon has to offer up on a 1-2 count. Got him.
There's the cutter.
3 up, 3 down, 2 strikeouts in the inning. Cardinals coming up. 10 series victories in a row, and with a win tonight, they can make it 11. And here's how he'll line them up tonight. Matt Carpenter will lead off. Molina in the 2 spot. Jose Martinez batting 3rd. Matt Adams, the cleanup batter tonight. O'Neill, DeYoung, Harrison Bader in center field. Munoz at 2nd base, and the pitcher batting 9th, Ponce de Leon. And here's Matt Carpenter, who will face Luis Castillo. Will make his 27th start of the season.
Familiar foes, both of them. They've seen a lot of each other here, even for a young pitcher like Castillo. Last couple of times he's turned it up a little bit. He's never had a game where he's really gone deep into the ball game and dominated here against the Cardinals.
Yeah, you look at his last 2 starts, which we focused on in the open, and he gave up 1 earned run last time out against the Cardinals, 2 earned runs, but each outing 5 1/3 in 5 innings. So you'd like to see him go deeper in the game.
Well, and only walked 1 batter in both of those games totaled up. But the biggest thing I think for Castillo is to put in a distant memory his last outing, which was against the Cubs. That was a forgettable one. And it was one where he kind of picked around the strike zone a little bit, and the wind was blowing out in Chicago, and the ballpark was playing very small. Gave up a couple of home runs. Daniel Murphy got him. Kyle Schwarber got him. Both left-handed hitters, and he's facing a home run hitter here to start the game off, or the bottom of the inning off, with Carpenter.
In fact, he increased his National League lead in home runs last night, and here he serves one into right field, leadoff base hit.
One of the things that I think would be interesting to watch with Castillo here this evening is how often, when he has a left-handed hitter up there, does he throw the ball on the first base side of home plate? I mean, come right in the kitchen. He always seems to be picking away to the middle of the plate down, and then away, middle of the plate, and then away. Never really gives himself a chance to throw that pitch, you know, underneath the elbows of a left-handed hitter. And he throws hard enough that he could buy himself a little bit of wiggle room outside if he can get inside a little bit.
Working from the stretch now, facing Yadier Molina. Molina, 333 batter off of Castillo. 4 for 12. There goes Carpenter. Throw down.
What
Not
a
in
great
time.
slide by Carpenter. Man, oh man, on a hit and run, there was a swing and a miss by Yadier Molina. They are still able to get the runner to second base. And believe me, Carpenter is no burner. This is one of the things that Mike Schilt, the new Cardinal manager, has really tried to embrace, is more stolen bases. They are now 21 of 27 as a team since he's taken over here in the second half. I would say that's a surprise attack right there.
Yeah, only the 3rd steal of the season for Carpenter. Throw to the wrong side of the bag, and as you said, nice slide.
And really, I mean, you got to figure the Yadier Molina's got to be one of the best hit and run guys in all the league.
Yeah.
He's got a stroke that lends itself to hitting the ball behind the runner there to right field. He normally makes good contact.
One-two pitch. Got him.
Easy gas tonight there for Castillo. That one registering on the radar gun at 99.
Throws it right by Molina, and will now have to deal with Jose Martinez riding a 7-game hitting streak.
You know, this ballpark is a little bit like Great American Ballpark, is at this time of night it's a little difficult to see the baseball. The batter's eye is very brightly lit by the sun, and the rest of the field is in the shade. So when you're looking out trying to see the baseball, I mean, you know, you're looking over in that bright area over there to your right of your screen, and you're trying to pick up the spin of the ball, the seams, and until that gets into shade, it's very difficult.
Fastball at 99, and he's ahead in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. .444 batter over this 7-game hitting streak.
With damage.
Overall, .314 hitter. That is 3rd best in the National League, trailing only Christian Yelich and Scooter Gennett. You go back the last 20 games for Martinez, .419 average. 4 doubles, 3 home runs, 14 RBIs. And clutch as well. The 1-2 in on the hands and fouled out of play.
Well, that's where you pitch a hitter who's really good at hitting the breaking pitch. I mean, he's geared for hitting the ball the other way. He's one of the league leaders in hitting the ball to right field. And one way you thwart that, you come right in there with the heat.
One-two offering again, and got him. Set him up with that one. Back-to-back punch-outs. Dandy piece of pitching right there.
Well, you just want to see Castillo continue to be aggressive. I mean, that was a right-on-right changeup that, you know, after you see that 99 miles an hour coming in there and you take 10 miles an hour off, it's very hard to gauge. I mean, just keep attacking the strike zone. With his kind of stuff, there's no reason not to.
2-out batter, Matt Adams. The 0-1. Should be the 3rd out. Single stolen base, stranded right there. Through 1, scoreless.
Personnel, including the umpires, will be wearing yellow ribbons and wristbands to support the fight against childhood cancer. You'll see all the players as they're in the field and coming up to bat wearing these yellow wristbands and the ribbons on their jerseys as well. It's the third straight season that Major League Baseball's promoted the cause as they try to fight childhood cancer. Of course, Major League Baseball through the years has raised over $40 million for Stand Up to Cancer, and some of these items, special items worn during the game today, will also be auctioned off as well. So go to MLB.com for more information on that. But each of the teams in Major League Baseball will donate 200 gowns to the children's hospitals and their communities as well. So a great cause, guys.
Yeah, MLB does a nice job supporting many initiatives, and terrific one tonight, Childhood Cancer Awareness Day. So 1-2-3 first, De Leon versus the Reds. He'll get Jeanette, Suarez, and Shebler here in the second. .317 average, just micro percentage points behind Christian Yelich. Broken bat, grass cutter, one out.
I didn't think those show bats even broke.
When they do, they're loud.
I mean, this is all getting in your kitchen right here.
Going with a darker version of bat of the show bats there. Maybe after he breaks out, when you might see him go back to the lighter version. We'll see.
Well, you can't use that one again. Unless he's going to make a lamp out of it.
Is that from experience? Have you made lamps out of bats?
I played with a guy in the minor leagues named Dennis Worth, who, that's what he did. He collected broken bats and made lamps out of them and sold them back to the players that had their name on the bat.
Wow.
It was brilliant. Actually, I think he made more money. Played with me and with the Columbus Clippers, and he made more money, you know, chopping up bats and putting electrical cords in them than he did playing baseball.
Was he a position player?
Yeah.
So he had experience of drilling bats?
He did carry a drill press on the road with him.
Oh,
that always raised a few eyebrows.
I was going to say, yeah. Very nice. He was just testing the bats for his future business endeavors, I'm sure. Two balls and a strike to Suarez. Just off the plate. Ponce de Leon wanted that call. Suarez 1 for 5 here last night. Did have an RBI single on the 2-run first for the Reds. Downhill from there after that. Payoff pitch. Got him. Ponce de Leon has faced 5 Reds batters, has struck out 3 of them.
Interesting guy, and I said early on his pitching arsenal is very interesting in my mind. He's got a fastball, a cutter, and that's what you're seeing right there, and a changeup. Occasionally he'll drop a curveball in, very rarely. And the cutter just has that little bit of motion on it, that little arc right there that you see. He may only move 2 or 3 inches one way, but he's used that when he's gotten ahead with 2 strikes. He got Joey Votto on it, now he got Suarez on it.
Good swing and a miss by Shebler.
I mean, rarely do you ever see a pitcher come up to the major leagues that doesn't have either a slider or a curveball.
Six up, 6 down for Ponce de Leon. Scoreless, middle of the second from St. Louis. Same as last night, Irvin, Hamilton, Shebler around the outfield. Suarez, Peraza, Jeanette, Votto, and Barnhart in the infield. Luis Castillo will get Tyler O'Neill, Paul DeYoung, Harrison Bader here in inning number 2. Foul back and just over the booth. Chris Welsh was ready. One. Suarez, sliding stop. Nice play.
Nice play. Made it look very easy. Made sure he had it right here. Gets himself in a good, solid throwing position.
If he stays healthy, he's going to be entrenched at third base for years to come. Signing a long-term deal before the season.
Well, which really is interesting because really, if you consider what Peraza has done this year, established himself as...
Suarez bobbles it a bit, but recovers and makes a running throw.
I mean, Peraza's a shortstop. You don't have to worry about that position. The Reds have him under control. They have the same deal now with Suarez because he signed a multi-year contract. Suarez, I think, obviously, everyone thinks the upside on offense, he has still not reached that yet. Getting better and better defensively. That's a nice play right there. Takes a lot of pride in it. I think the one step left for Eugenio Suarez is to realize that he is the man on this ball club other than Joey Votto.
Yeah. And
to carry himself like that and to lead by example in every little thing that you do.
So we've even seen some lectures from umpires. He has lost his cool at the plate, throwing helmets, bats, etc. And you know, some of the longtime umpires they realize the talent of Suarez. Look, you need to act like you're one of the best players in the game as well.
It takes a while. I mean, all these things together, plus he comes from Venezuela, so you have to make the adjustment to living in the United States. Get your family over here. It's a lot more than just, you know, taking batting practice and ground balls.
He's a likable kid. I mean, he is a joy to be around. I'm not sure I've ever seen him in a bad mood. If he's been in a bad mood, he hides it very well. And a gamer, likes playing every day.
So on the other side of the infield, of course, you have Scooter Jeanette, who arbitration eligible after this year, still has another year on his contract for 2019, and then Joey Votto signed for several more years. So really the infield here is intact.
Good inning for Luis Castillo. Through 2, no score. Great American Ballpark has it all, featuring indoor and outdoor seating with a great view of the field, TVs, and a ballpark buffet. Yes, sir. Book your next group of 35 to 45 in the Norcom Super Suite. Visit reds.com/groups. Well, the Reds have yet to solve Daniel Ponce de Leon. 7 no-hit innings in his major league debut in Cincinnati. 6 up, 6 down in the first 2 innings here, so 9 innings of no-hit baseball versus the Reds. Not an official no-hitter, but 9 innings worth, though, spanning 2 games.
It's impressive. I mean, he's making it look very simple, too.
You go back to his last 18 outs, you go back to his last start against the Dodgers, 11 of his last 18 outs have been via the strikeout. He has 3 punch outs in the first 6 batters in this one.
Well, if you consider where Ponce de Leon came from, now he's 26 years old. He was 22 when he signed, and they signed him out of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical School. It was like his 3rd different college that he went to. That was in Daytona Beach. But the Cardinals got him in 2014, and boy, what a haul they had in their draft, their amateur draft in 2014. 4/5 of their rotation came from that draft. Luke Weaver was a first-round pick. I think they took him number 27 overall. Flaherty was a comp pick. They took him number 34 in the draft. And then Austin Gomber went at 135, and Daniel Ponce de Leon went in the 9th round, number 285 overall. Well, I mean, even in their wildest expectations, there's no way that anybody with the Cardinals ever dreamt that from 2014, by the time 2018 rolls around, those 4 guys, the top 4 that they took in that draft, would end up being in the rotation down the pennant stretch and doing a good job at it.
It is mighty impressive.
And it's such a rarity for that to happen, too. I mean, we're not saying like, well, the Cardinals are so much smarter than anybody else. I mean, you have to have good scouts, yes. You also have to have a whole lot of luck. And a little bit of development in between. You just can't dump a prospect into the minor leagues and have him develop himself. So the Cardinals are doing something right, that's for sure.
1-out batters, Tucker Barnhart. What an incredible month of August it was for the Cardinals. 22 wins. First time they've done that in the calendar months since '68, and rookies getting it done. 12 wins by rookie pitchers during the month of August.
Yeah, Austin Gomber won last night. He has won 5. Jack Flaherty's won 4, and Dakota Hudson has 3 W's in the month of August.
That is the most rookie wins in last month in all of Major League Baseball.
Well, I think the other really impressive thing, you know, and sometimes, you know, your farm system is flush, other times it's a little bit low, but this year obviously I think they have had 16 rookies play for them this year, and 12 of those rookies have come from the Cardinal organization. So
2 balls and 2 strikes to Tucker Barnhart. Tucker a 2-for-3 night last night. Couple of singles, walked and scored. A little early on that one. The count holds at 2-2. O'Neill under it. 2 outs. That'll bring up the pitcher, Luis Castillo. And a first pitch strike. Castillo, a 128 batter this season, 6 for 47. Does have 2 RBIs. Castillo gets a piece and stays alive. Called. 4 of them now for Ponce de Leon. 9 up, 9 down.
Get weekly stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18 is available now. Learn more at rbigame.com. Rated E for everyone. Well, it's time now for our August Moments of the Month. Moment number 4, Scooter Gennett. In a pitching change, takes a picture with a young fan, then he gets up to bat, and he hits a solo home run off of left-handed pitcher Dan Jennings to give the Reds the lead. They would go on to win that game 9-7. That was August 21st versus the Brewers, as Scooter gets to exact some revenge against the team that released him. Gentlemen.
Tried to play it down after the game, but you're only human to admit that he said it was nice to round the bases and look the former teammates in the eye and take that.
You know, the interesting thing, though, is, I mean, obviously the Brewers have moved way beyond that by now. Last year what he did, obviously, it was probably a little salt in the wounds, but I'm not so sure that Scooter would ever have gotten the chance to play as much as he has here in Cincinnati. When he came over here, he came up, picked up on the waiver wire. They expected him to be a part-time player. He took the job basically from Jose Peraza. Peraza was struggling. Peraza ends up sitting on the bench a lot because Zach Kozar was at shortstop.
Well, the Brewers told him that they didn't think he could hit left-handed pitching consistently, and that's one of the chips he wears on his shoulder. And he'll admit he has many chips on that shoulder. His whole life they told him he's too small, he's not fast enough, doesn't have a good arm, can't hit left-handed pitchers. And he's been on a mission, using all of that as motivation.
You know, and that's the attitude part of Scooter Gennett that makes him a big league player.
Yeah.
And it's the attitude, really, of this Cardinal team that has made them a contender. Because on paper, they're not that good. I mean, they don't stack up against the Chicago Cubs player for player. How many of these players on this Cardinal team are starting on the Cubs team?
Wow, not many.
Or even on the Brewers team, for that matter.
I mean, Carpenter's leading the league in home runs, but when Chris Bryant is healthy, who are you going to send to the play?
But, you know, you can do a lot with attitude. Both these pitchers are just weaving their way right through these lineups.
Fourth strikeout for Luis Castillo.
Another changeup that basically goes straight down. What a great weapon, and it really has only been recently exploited. You know, the right-on-right changeup, meaning a right-handed pitcher throws it to a right-handed hitter and it goes down and into him. Used to be pitching coaches would tell you, oh, you don't want to do that. You know, that's you don't want the guy golf the ball out of the ballpark. We want you to throw that slider down and away. But Castillo's changeup is much better than his slider as far as results.
Pitcher v. pitcher here. Ponce de Leon shows bunt, pulls it back, and looks at ball two. Very interesting point you brought up. If you go around, how many Cardinals would start on the Cubs team? I mean, you go position by position, that's an interesting way to look at it. I mean, shortstop, you're starting Baez all day, every day.
And I think that, you know, sometimes that, the attitude, you know, some people want to call it chemistry, and so I like to call it more of the attitude of a ball club. It is an overlooked part, maybe the most overlooked. And it's not that everybody gets along in the clubhouse. That's, you know, you can call that chemistry. But I'm talking about the attitude of getting out there and expecting to win every night.
Yep.
Not wanting to win, expecting to win, and be deeply disappointed when it doesn't happen. And when you have a losing ball club that has developed the habit of that, and the Reds are in that rut right now, it's a very difficult thing to break out of.
First pitch ball to Matt Carpenter. I'm not sure there would be one player. If you look at the Cubs lineup, maybe Molina behind the plate, but even then.
Now, this is why they like to play a little shift on him, because you see all these balls here when he does put it on the ground. We mentioned last night a very interesting stat about Matt Carpenter, that he, coming into the game last night, had 28 hits taken away from him by the shift. But then he had 10 added because of the shift, meaning that, you know, he hit a ground ball where normally there'd be a third baseman. There's no one here on the shift. But he's still, you know, 18 in the hole because the shift defense works on Carpenter when he puts it on the ground.
Well, I love to look at that spray chart. StatCast AI powered by AWS. You can see exactly why and where.
You see how deep Otto's playing right there, and that's one reason why you see so many assists by first basemen nowadays.
Castillo strikes out the side. Both pitchers dealing here through 3. 4, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, now ranked number 2 in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. Under the arch, Saturday night, St. Louis. A lot of goose eggs on the board so far. Top of the 4th, top of the order for the Reds to face Daniel Ponce de Leon, who has faced the Reds in 10 innings of work in 2018. 10 innings of no-hit baseball. They got Hamilton to strike out swinging to begin this game, and now we'll go in round 2 versus Hamilton. Billy showing bunt, and strike called.
Hard for Billy to argue that call with the home plate umpire because he was kind of running out of the box at the time the pitch was coming across the plate. You don't get much of a look at it like that.
Once again, we see Billy not staying in the box. He has the speed to not have to drag bunt, particularly from the left-hand side. But
you know, old habits are just so tough to kick.
Yeah.
And his habit of running out of the box while he tries to bunt is something he's been doing probably forever. And it just doesn't really work very well.
the best bunt is a well-positioned bunt and not a sneak bunt, particularly with his speed. No balls and 2 strikes to Hamilton. Carpenter has room, 1 out.
You know, it's kind of interesting about the bunt here in Cardinal land. One of the most revered Cardinals of all time, Red Schoendienst, told a story to Mike Schilt. Well, Red Schoendienst was a very young player first coming up, and he was approached by Ty Cobb. And Ty Cobb said to Schoendienst, listen, kid, you know, if you get into a slump, here's what you do. You go in the batting cage and you bunt 50 times. And if that doesn't work the next day, you go back in there and you bunt 100 times until you get your eye on the ball. And Schoendienst took that message and took it to Mike Schilt, who then, of course, distributed it throughout the minor leagues. He never played far enough to get that message, but that's what he was doing in the minor leagues. And if you think about it, that is a brilliant little bit of advice, because, you know, when you bunt, you have to watch the ball make contact with the bat, and your head is still, and you're nice and relaxed. You're trying to deaden the ball. You're not trying to swing as hard as you can and get yourself all out of kilter and you know, out of balance. And that would probably be, you know, a very simple formula or prescription for a guy like Billy Hamilton. I mean, go in the cage and bunt 100 times. Not going to wear you out, and eventually you're going to get better at it. I thought that, you know, spanning the generations between Ty Cobb to Red Schoendienst and now Mike Schilt, kind of an interesting story.
Well, particularly when it starts with Ty Cobb.
Yeah.
You kidding me? It's great stuff. I love to see those bunts against live pitching, which we've seen gone by the wayside, running off of pitching machines, etc. Here's a drive, and the Reds finally have a hit off of Daniel Ponce de Leon. It's an extra base hit by Jose Peraza.
Boy, stayed back and really buggy whipped that ball to Peraza. Really beautiful approach. Remember, he's really the only guy in the lineup that has made good contact when Ponce de Leon hit a sizzling line drive right up the center fielder his first time up.
You see Ponce de Leon's reaction as he jumps up knowing he made a mistake pitch, and Peraza took advantage. So 10 1/3 innings spanning 2 games of no-hit baseball against the Reds, finally broken up by Jose Peraza. 1-0. Votto's average sitting at 282 after a first inning strikeout. He's a .315 batter, though, this season, the second time he faces a starting pitcher. Two balls and a strike to Votto. Three and one.
Might be the first 3-1 count of the night here for Ponce de Leon. He has been basically a strike throwing machine. So 51 total, 35 in the zone.
This time Ponce de Leon has to work out at the stretch against the Reds. Full count.
All right, so last time he had Votto with 2 strikes. He just threw the fastball at the very high part of the zone. His best fastball, 94 miles an hour. I mean, you're betting the farm right here. You're getting that cutter. A little bit 90 miles an hour. Looks like a fastball, a little bit slower, has a little movement coming into you.
Here's a drive into right center field. This ball's hit well. This ball is off the wall. Here comes Peraza rounding third base. He will score. Votto delivers, and the Reds have a 1-0 lead.
Well, he got the fastball, not the cutter that time, and Votto, boy, did he level on it. In fact, I think that he is stunned that that ball stayed in this ballpark. It sounded good. It sounded like he got it. He keeps looking back at the right center field wall, because normally when Votto hits them like that, they're out of here. Maybe a little at the end of the bat.
Back-to-back doubles for the Reds here. 56th RBI of the season for Votto. 25th double. And Scooter showing bunt, and it will roll foul.
You know, most infielders, infields that is, are crowned a little bit. So that when a ball goes down the line, if it gets into the dirt, it's almost always going to go foul. Just because when it rains, of course, groundskeepers want the rain to drain off that way.
Guys that bunt a lot, particularly back in the day, you'd see them roll the baseball down the line and see how much of a crown was on the field.
Pitchers would do that too.
Yep. Don't see it as much.
Willie McGee used to do that. He's sitting over there in the Cardinal dugout. One of the all-time best teammates ever.
Willie McGee is a guy that's been brought up to Billy Hamilton. Say, go watch some video of Willie McGee. As far as putting the ball, contact, slap hitting at times. The ball on the ground, using your speed.
Exactly right. You never knew where to play him.
Yeah.
You never knew where he was going to hit it. McGee was a bright prospect with the New York Yankees coming up in their organization. I think a former #1 or 2 draft pick. Came out of Daly City in San Francisco, California. As a 17-year-old, I played with him up in the New York Penn League. And the Yankees traded him. And I can't remember who the trade was for. We could look it up. And the very next year, he became the National League MVP. And the Cardinals won the World Series. Or maybe it was a year after that. And George Steinbrenner was so infuriated that they traded away a player that turned out to be the caliber of Willie McGee, an NL MVP, World Series winner when they played the Kansas City Royals. And he went into the minor league office, and the word was that he fired the first 5 people he saw. And there were people diving underneath the desks so they wouldn't be seen by George, who was on a rampage. that was in exchange for Bob Sight, right-handed pitcher. I mean, you had Willie McGee and Vince Coleman and Ozzie Smith and Tommy Herr.
What a great guy to have on your coaching staff, Willie McGee.
Whitey Herzog's team, boy, they could fly.
Yeah. Pretty good battle here, Jeanette Ponce de Leon. Seventh pitch of the at-bat. And here it comes into center field, and that's going to drop. Votto misjudged that.
Oh, that's just not good base running at all by Joey Votto. Must have had no clue where those outfielders were playing, because that was a base hit from the time it left the bat. And I think he knows it.
And Scooter will let him know it.
This is the difference between winning and losing ball games right here. You get a little blooper. I mean, there's no way Bader's getting to it. There's no way the shortstop's ever going to get close to it. And Votto goes, and then he's got to look where everybody is. You're supposed to do that before the pitch. Second night in a row, the Reds have made a major blunder on the base paths. It was Scott Schebler last night. At that time, it was a 5-run ball game. But they didn't have the run on contact play last night when Schebler decided to run on a ground ball right back to the third baseman, and he was a dead duck at the plate. As it turned out, at one point it was a very close ball game.
Yep. As it pulled within 2 at one point where the wheels fell off. We'll see if Suarez can pick them up here.
I mean, wins and losses in big league games are not always about who bashes the fences down and who has the most doubles. Little things can just turn it one way or another.
No balls and 2 strikes to Suarez. With 96 RBIs on the season, number 97 sitting right there, maybe 98. 1-2. And that back and forth battle between Baez and Suarez for the National League lead in RBIs. Baez with 98, Suarez 96 coming into today's play. Jesus Aguilar 3 back of Suarez. Action in the Cardinals pen. 66 pitches for Ponce de Leon, or at least guys stirring around. Full count. Payoff pitch. In the air, hit well. Left center field. Suarez off the wall. Here comes Jeanette to third base. They're going to wave him around. The throw to the plate. And dropped by Molina. Suarez delivers. And the Reds have a 3-0 lead.
I think everybody in this ballpark, including Suarez and Ponce de Leon, thought this baby was going out of here, but it hit the very top of the wall out there. and stays in the ballpark. But Jeanette will not be denied. I mean, he's coming around third. Billy Hatcher's waving him on in, and fortunately not being able to be handled there on the short hop by Molina. And the Reds' aggressive base running pays off here on that ball.
Me included in thinking the ball was going out of the ballpark. That is 2 balls in this inning, as you said.
Well, how about poor Daniel Ponce de Leon? He goes through the first 3 innings in order. Never really had except 1 ball hit hard. And he has gone from sugar to shinola here in 1 inning in a hurry.
4 straight hits, 3 of them doubles. Now action indeed in Cardinals pen. Tyson Ross begins to warm up. Here's Shebler, who hit a big fly last night. So RBIs 97 and 98 for Suarez.
Cardinals are hurrying up their bullpen.
And he walked Shebler. First walk surrendered by Daniel Ponce de Leon. And that was career double number 100 for Suarez. And look at Votto asking for the ball, knowing that's number 100. Broken bat floater, and that'll fall. And the Reds have the bases juiced.
Yeah, they're getting them all different ways in this inning. Off the end of the bat, a couple of blue pits, one by Jeanette, one now by Irvin. And a couple of very hard hit balls. Votto, Suarez, Peraza, and that will be all for young Daniel Ponce de Leon.
It's our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. bases loaded, 1 out, and Daniel Ponce de Leon, the wheels came off quickly, and Tyson Ross now called upon by Mike Schill.
Now, Tyson Ross, and if that name sounds familiar, it should. He's been around a long time, 31 years old now. This season he's been with San Diego, claimed on waivers August the 5th by the Cardinals, and that's what got him into a Cardinal uniform. Also pitched for the Rangers. Originally drafted by the Oakland A's, second round in 2008 after attending University of California, Berkeley. Playing for the Golden Bears.
Got Tucker Barnhart. In 2014, Tyson Ross was National League All-Star. Padres. 2.81 ERA that season.
Ross's repertoire has really always been hard sinking fastball and hard slider. Right over the top, drives it down in the zone. He's had a lot of injuries along the way. But when he was right, well, he's one of the best sliders around.
Doesn't count to 3 balls and no strikes to Barnhart, and nowhere to put him. Lefty's hitting .290 this season off of Ross.
On the waiver wire for a reason.
Eight home runs against the lefties. Needs a strike, and 2-3 double play. Let's get 3 though.
Number 3 in the month of August, Brandon Dixon on to pitch August 13th versus the Cleveland Indians. He gets the top of the Indians order. Lindor, Brantley, and there Jose Ramirez swinging 1, 2, 3 against 3 of the toughest hitters in the American League. Dixon, that 0.00 earned run average. And if I'm not mistaken, Jim and Chris, he did it the other night too, and he keeps that 0.00 ERA intact.
Well, it was last night, in fact. That nasty 68-mile-per-hour cutter.
I mean, I want to know who will be the first manager to put a guy like Brandon Dixon into a more high-leverage situation than a blowout game, because the swings that we see, I mean, these guys are trying to hit them. They're not trying to look.
There's
you
no
think
doubt.
that Jose Ramirez tried to look awkward as he did?
It's more of a pride factor in the guy that throws mid-90s.
It's the best pitch I've seen since the Ethiopian changeup.
All right, let's see what Castillo does with a 3-0 lead. Reds gave Homer Bailey a 2-0 lead last night. The wheels fell off. Molina, Martinez, Adams, 2, 3, and 4 here in the fourth.
Do you think that Yadier Molina said anything to Tucker Barnhart when he came to the plate right here? After Barnhart swung on a 3-0 pitch, marginal strike with the bases loaded, and grounded into a double play.
Thank you, maybe? Probably said nothing. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I see some crazy things in this game.
Yep. Molina lays off one. 3-1 the count. It was a 28-minute half inning that Castillo sat through, and he walks Molina to begin the fourth, bottom of the fourth, that is.
Well, the momentum inning right here. This pitch looked awfully good. Very tough to take here from Molina. Whether it's a strike or not, it still looked like it was pretty close. So one thing that Castillo has not had a problem doing tonight is throwing the ball over the plate.
First walk given up by Castillo, and now Jose Martinez. Right at the knees for strike one. Those tall guys don't like those low strike calls.
Yeah, look at the facial expression. It's like his puppy just ran away. Boy, two really good pitches back to back.
Barnhart sets up inside. 0-2. Raza gets to it. He will outrun Molina to get the out at second base.
Well, what a good heads-up play by Jose Peraza. He was ranging deep to get that ball. He was out near the outfield grass when he finally gloved it. And he's got to put the brakes on, realizing that Martinez is probably going to outrun that play. But Yadier Molina rarely outruns anything. So you get the out where you can, the lead runner especially.
A clutch out for Castillo via Peraza, and we'll see what Castillo can do with the lefty Matt Adams. Reds and Fox Sports Ohio would like to wish a very special happy birthday to Mrs. Dean Compton from Scioto County, celebrating number 91 today. She's at home watching tonight's game and does so every day no matter what else is going on. Happy birthday, Dean. Thank you for being a Reds fan. Hope you're having a great day and a great night. See if the Reds can bring home a victory for you. On number 91. Steele brushes Adams back off the plate, and the count is 2 balls and a strike. way out front. 2-2. Count. Payoff pitch, and got him. Beauty. 6 of them now for Castillo, and just like many young pitchers, it could be a roller coaster ride if you look at our Elk and Elk storylines. ERA by month. Beginning of the season, ouch. Pretty good May, June. Very good July, and then in August, going back to 5.57 ERA. That's a roller coaster ride.
Well, part of the roller coaster ride is trying to leveling out the ups and downs. And certainly you don't want the good games to come down, but you want the bad games to have a little more damage control. Last time out, he was up the Cubs, and I thought it was an intimidating atmosphere. The Cubs, the bats were coming alive. It was a rowdy place at Wrigley Field, and I think he just got caught up in everything and really kind of got outside what he normally does, which has great stage presence. Looks like he's unaffected by anything that goes on behind him. But he was clearly agitated that day. And Jim Riggleman had to come and get him because it was just basically not making pitches the way he can. Tonight, different story.
Pulls O'Neill there, and he's ahead in the count, 1-2.
Right back to the slider, I think. Yep, down and away.
Swing and a miss. Leadoff walk, no problem. 7 strikeouts for Castillo. Concert features Dove award-winning band 10th Avenue North. Don't miss their live performance from the field after the Reds take on the Padres. See it for as low as $12. Visit Reds.com today. Top of the 5th. Tyson Ross still on the bump for the Cardinals, and he'll get 9-1-2 for the Reds. Luis Castillo, Billy Hamilton, Jose Peraza. Chris Welsh, I'm Jim Day. Thanks for hanging out with us here on Saturday night. Swing and a miss. As you enjoy a Miller Lite, and we hope you are, look forward to the Hold True moment later in tonight's game. Strikeout, pop out for Hamilton. We saw Hamilton's two biggest fans sitting in the stands. Jeff McCurl filled us in on last night, the Vowels. They gave him a bat. So Billy got some home cooking today from them. Hamilton's worked the count full. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Tyson Ross.
You know, sometimes we talk about the strides of a pitcher. Some have long strides, some have rather short strides. Tyson Ross has a very short stride for a guy as tall as he is, but he works over the top of that baseball. Everything he throws, it has a downward plane. So his pitching angle is much steeper than a lot of other pitchers. It's a lot of ground balls, lives down around the knees, and was very good at it for quite a while.
Does that put more pressure on the arm or less when you have a shorter stride?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I mean, he is 6 feet 6 inches tall, Tyson Ross is, and he's got kind of a very small stride there.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably strides as long as you would stride if you were 5 feet 6 inches tall. But it works for him. You know, not everybody has to be, you know, stuck into the same box. That's one of the things that's happening, I guess, in baseball nowadays, with all the training facilities and I don't know, the desire to throw harder and harder. Everybody's kind of getting pushed into the same pitching delivery.
Yeah.
You know, testing the limits of the human body as to how hard you can throw without your arm blowing off.
Or
figuratively speaking, of
really?
It blows up on the inside, not the outside.
I was going to say, I think we would have seen that highlight before. Just kidding with Speedy Peraza. Middle of the fifth. Reds have a 3-0 lead. mobile, and Luis Castillo, rebound performance so far here tonight. Got the full arsenal working. 7 strikeouts through 4 innings for Castillo. 8 strikeouts make that. And he'll go to work here in inning number 5. Paul DeYoung in the box.
You know, the other thing that has worked in the favor of Luis Castillo tonight is that the Cardinals can't run a left-handed lineup out at you like the Milwaukee Brewers can and like the Chicago Cubs can. I mean, they can just lay hammer after hammer, all left-handers, and you better be on top of your game as a right-hander to be able to get them out. Cardinals have to mix in, you know, a lot of other players, right-handers that can be a lot more easily pitched to. Guys like Tyler O'Neill, you know, Paul DeYoung, Bader, Munoz, Yadier Molina.
Those numbers back up what you're saying.
I mean, when you face a lineup of left-handers, if you're a right-handed pitcher, sometimes it makes one of your best pitches. And a lot of right-handers, their best off-speed pitches, their slider or their curveball. But if you face a lineup of left-handers, that may be better be breaking down, or else they're going to turn it basically into an ineffective pitch, and you're going to have to go with your changeup. Now, in the case of Castillo, he's got a very good changeup. I think that's his plus pitch. So, you know, going down the road, he's got something to get left-handers out with.
If I'm a GM in today's baseball, I am loading up as many left-hand hitters as I can. We just don't see as many left-hand starters in the game, with the Chicago Cubs starting rotation right now being one of the exceptions.
And you know where I think it starts? It starts in the amateur draft. That you're going out and you're finding left-handed hitting infielders, left-handed hitting catchers, outfielders. Because once they're in the big leagues or at the top end of the minor leagues, there are a lot of other teams have their eyes on the same guys that you do.
Two balls and a strike to Harrison Bader.
There are a few guys in this lineup that you can pitch almost identical to. Bader, Tyler O'Neill. Same body type, very much the same swing. Show them in, get them out of the way. I mean, short arms, you just can't cover the outer part of the plate if you hit your spot. But if you leave the ball in the inner part of the plate, short, strong, plenty of bat speed. So that's what they're looking for, inner third.
Two to Bader. We'll do it again. Full count. Payoff pitch. Got it. 9 of them now for Castillo. And speaking of the Cubs, let's get an update. Let's go back to Cincinnati and Brian Giesenslaw. With that victory last night over the Reds, and the Cubs lost, both the Cardinals and the Brewers cut into that Chicago lead. So we've reached the month of September. Going to be interesting down the stretch in the National League Central. And will the NL Central put 3 teams into the playoffs if both the Cardinals and the Brewers are holding down the 2 wild card spots right now? And Milwaukee beating Washington 1-0 bottom of the 5th. Washington only has 2 hits. And Christian Yelich continues to do his thing. 1 for 2 in RBI. His average sitting at .318 in the nation's capital. Raza to his left. Quick throw. Another 1-2-3 inning for Luis Castillo.
For this date in Reds history, brought to you by Geico. Let's go back to September 1st of 1967. Reds played the longest game in franchise history. It was a 1-0 loss in 21 innings to the Giants. After an MLB record-tying 20 scoreless innings, the game was decided when Dick Groat do a bases-loaded walk from Bob Lee, and the Giants came away with a run victory in a game that lasted 5 hours and 20 minutes. And yes, Jim, only some of the games have we thought lasted 5 hours and 20 minutes.
21 innings of joy.
Ooh.
That's a lot of free baseball.
Yeah. More than a game's worth of free baseball. Hammered to right, but foul. Nice to see Joey turn on one. If he went out to pull the ball more, I've always wondered what his power numbers would be.
I think they would be what he ever wanted them to be. I just think he's that good when he stands in the batter's box.
That interview I did with him in spring training, he said, my next at bat, what do you want me to do? I said, I want you to pull it down the right field line. He said that would be the worst thing to do, as his philosophy of hitting. I'm like, well, you asked me what I wanted you to do. I want you to do something you rarely do. I want you to pull it down the line.
Ross saw something in his swing right there. He went back-to-back sliders and struck him out. Here we call it a slider from Ross, but it's basically a downshoot, like they used to say.
Tyson Ross has come in and done the job. Came in 1 out in the 4th. Reds had the bases loaded, induced Tucker Barnard into a 1-2-3 double play. Struck out 2 in the 5th, and now Votto here in the 6th.
It just seems to me, you know, let's go back last night. They brought in a reliever that was throwing 103, 102 miles an hour, right? And the Reds had some really good swings against him. And tonight against Tyson Ross, he's just flipping that little slider up there, and they are screwing themselves right into the ground.
Neal has it, 2 outs. Start your day with first things first. Join Chris Carter, former Ohio State Buckeye, Nick Wright and Jenna Wolf for the best morning sports show on television. Weekday morning, 6:30 Eastern on FS1. Two-out batter is Eugenio Suarez. Last time up for Suarez, nearly went yard off the top of the wall in left center field. It plated 2. Part of that 3-run 4th inning for the Reds. Knocks it down, recovers, and a 1-2-3-6 for Tyson Ross. 3-0 Cincinnati.
August. How about this defensive play by Eugenio Suarez against the Cleveland Indians? He dives into foul territory. What a play from his knee. He throws out Yan Gomes. That's one of the best defensive plays we have seen all season long. Guys?
Suarez. You know, those guys that come up as shortstops, you've seen it so many times, tend to be pretty good fielders wherever you put them.
Now the majority of major leaguers, position players anyway, came up as shortstops.
At some point in their career, because when you're in youth baseball particularly, you're one of your best players playing shortstop.
Pitched, played short, sometimes caught. Go figure.
Bleeder off the bat of Tyson Ross.
Everybody with a bat's dangerous.
And that'll bring to the plate the top of the order in the form of Matt Carpenter. Hit number 35 here last night to lead the National League in home runs. He's the first Cardinal lefty to hit 35 or more home runs since Jim Edmonds hit 42 in 2004. And he's on a pretty good list. Carpenter, Edmonds, Stan Musial, and Johnny Mize are the only St. Louis lefties to do so. Musial and Edmonds did it 3 times each. You're on any list with Stan the Man Musial. That is a feather in the cap. Johnny Mize. Castillo had 1 ball, 2 strikes. Painted the black there at 97. Two hits off of Castillo so far. One of them, that blooper style off the bat of Tyson Ross. Count holds at 1-2. Got a piece. Got him. 10th strikeout for Castillo. That ties a career high. 3rd time in his career he's done it. Twice against the Cardinals.
He's got a chance to blow right past that number here tonight with the way he's throwing the ball. He's only got 85 pitches, and that changeup of his has been lethal.
Second time this season that Castillo has struck out 10 versus the Cardinals. He did it back on June 9th. Also September 6th last year against Milwaukee, fan 10.
You know, basically he's tried to keep his fastball down tonight, and I really like that on Castillo. It's very difficult for a pitcher to command both the lower end of the strike zone and the higher end of the strike zone in the same game. You have a tendency to make a mistake on that transition pitch, one going from one side to the other. But he's kept the ball down, especially his changeup.
Easy gas at 98 there to even the count at 1-1. 1-2 offering to Molina. Punches it. And Hamilton there for out number 2. Castillo will now tangle with Jose Martinez. Strikeout, reached on the fielder's choice last time up. All one. Paints the corner at 97, even the count at 1-1.
Interesting, they've really tonight have kept the ball down brilliantly against Martinez, and he just does not look really comfortable. I mean, he's painting right down there at the bottom of the zone. We've seen some funny reactions by Martinez on pitches that were called right down there in the hollow of the knees.
Swing and a miss. A 1-2. Swing and a miss. Woo. New career high for Luis Castillo, 11 strikeouts. La Piedra. Muy bien.
And a trip for 2 to see the Reds in spring training in Goodyear, Arizona. Each donation of $25 equals 1 entry into the sweepstakes. For rules and entry, visit reds.com/spring-sweepstakes. It's a lot of fun out there. And how about Scott Schebler? He's coming up to bat, and last night 3 for 5, including home run number 13, and it was an absolute cannon shot. I talked to him today, and he said, you know, that's about as good as I can hit a ball. I don't know if I can hit it any better than that. Well, I'll tell you what, he hit some missiles last night as he was 3 for 5, including a double and home run number 13, guys.
Scott Shebler leads this inning off. The Reds are up 3-0. We go to the top of the 7th inning, and Shebler walked his last time up, hit the ball very hard his first time up, aligned it right to Harrison Bader in center field. And that's a wild one.
Hit the mascot. Quick trip to the rosin bag for Ross. Some guys will wear out that rosin bag. Were you a big rosin bag guy?
Well, you know, sometimes if it really got to be, you know, it's very humid down there on the field. Jeff McCarl said before the game was in the high 80s. I think it was probably even in the 90s during batting practice. Just hot, humid. The ball field sits very low, right down there in the Mississippi, you know, river area here. And there's not a lot of air movement down there. Fair ball.
Hammered
rocket shot
into right, and Shebler's on his way to second base.
So no, basically no. I was more of a pine tar guy.
Well, Ross needed some pine tar in this one. Not much movement, and Shebler hammered it.
Well, you know, he got the ball up, and that's where Ross just can't afford to pitch because he doesn't have a lot of rise on that ball. Everything he throws is meant to sink, and Shebler's right there. The Reds could use the little add-on right here.
First hit outside of the 4th inning for the Reds. They got all 5 of their previous hits in inning number 4.
And that all ended when Tyson Ross came into this ball game.
Yep.
That was an inning really where the Reds could have added at least one more run on.
Yep.
But so far, Castillo has made those 3 runs look big.
In all seriousness, easy for me to say. Do you think it would equalize things? No, theoretically, if pitchers were allowed to use pine tar.
I don't think it would really affect the game
You don't?
at all.
I've asked hitters about pitchers using pine tar, and they're like, I'd rather have the pitcher know where it's going than throw up my noggin and losing one.
Oh, yeah. Well, for years now, we've heard that Major League Baseball is working on manufacturing baseballs that actually have a little tackiness on the outside when they come out of the box, instead of the very powdery, slippery feel that a brand new baseball has. And so all these balls, as you know, are individually rubbed up by either the umpires or the umpires.
Look out, you don't want Adams crashing into that dugout. Makes a nice play.
So you get the locker room attendant, the umpire's room to rub those babies up and to take the sheen off of them a little bit. In fact, it was against the Cardinals back in the days when Chris Carpenter and Bronson Arroyo were pitching against each other one night, right? And the Cardinals accused the Reds of over-rubbing the baseball.
Oh, yeah.
That caused a big controversy, of course.
I was in the camera well that night, and Carpenter was throwing baseball after baseball into the camera well where the bat boy is. Each ball he got, he didn't like the feel of it, threw it out. And they kept putting them back in play. Little did he know. It went right in the bag, and they kept recirculating.
Well, they do that now, right?
Oh, yeah.
They throw them out, and they act like it hit the dirt, or it has a
yeah, they
stuff
throw
on
them out.
it,
And bat boy puts
circulate them back.
Yeah, puts it right back in the bag.
You've seen one ball, you've seen them all.
Yeah. Which kills me, those balls that go in the dirt and they throw aside. It's going back in the game, unless it's, you know, the umpire will look at it or the bat boy will look at it. It's got some type of scuff on it, big scuff that will.
Unless it has an authentication sticker on it.
Well, they do authenticate a lot of baseballs in that same area. And bats. And this will get through. They're going to wave Shebler around. Here comes the throw to the plate. Not in time. Molina tried to reach out and make the tag. And the speedy Shebler scores, 4-0 Reds.
Wow, Tucker Barnhart in a way making up now for that 3-0 double play ball that he hit into by driving a run in from second base. Good job by Barnhart, and Shebler with his speed, though, he just simply outruns his play.
Not a bad throw by Martinez. If you want to get it there, a one hop that's easy to catch is a decent throw, but a little offline, and Shebler with those good wheels gives the Reds a 4-0 lead.
Well, it just goes to show, you know, the balls that go through as ground balls, even though that was hit very hard, it was it bounced multiple times before it got to the outfielder. And that with the, you know, Shebler's probably what, the third fastest guy in this ball club?
Yeah, absolutely. Behind Hamilton and Peraza, I would think, but just a tick behind Peraza too. It's deceiving speed because he's a stocky guy, so you don't think he's going to motor that much. You have to look down through the roster here. Not sure a pitcher could give him a run for his money. Lorenzen maybe, but he's probably faster than Lorenzen. Yeah, third fastest. Steele showing bunt again, and this time gets it done. Sacrifice goes 1-4. Now time for a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky.
Barnhart in scoring position for Billy Hamilton. Billy 0 for 3 so far tonight, and a couple strikeouts. Broken bat. The Reds add a run. Stretch time, 4-0 Reds. Here on Fox Sports Ohio, we warm you up with Reds Live, the pregame edition, brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. First look at the lineups, features, interviews, tech talk with Chris Welsh, Tom's Tidbits, and more. 1:30 tomorrow. It's a Sunday afternoon tilt. Anthony DiSclafani versus Luke Weaver. The Reds and Cardinals will close out their final game head-to-head in 2018 tomorrow afternoon on Fox Sports Ohio. Bottom of the 7th, Luis Castillo still on the hill. He has punched out a career-high 11. The Cardinals have all of 2 hits off of it. Pitch count sitting at 94. And the Reds will begin the bottom of the 7th with action in the pen. It is David Hernandez warming up. Right at Suarez. Ole! 1 out.
Boy, he has made a handful of really fine defensive plays here tonight. We've seen him make a slow roller play, one behind the bag at third base. This one, a opposite field rocket shot. And picks it clean, and that's the first out of the inning.
And that shift with where Suarez was, that's a spray chart out because he hit it right where he played him. Castillo will take that. 1 pitch to O'Neill, 2nd out of the inning.
Yeah, strikeouts are sexy, but you know, getting deep into the ball game is what gets you W's.
64 strikes, 33 balls. It has been easy gas tonight for Castillo. Bidding for out number 3 here in the 7th.
Well, it's the command of his pitches. I mean, he always seems to have easy gas. He's got such a great arm, God-given talent with that. You know, a skinny kid like Castillo can throw the ball nearly 100 miles an hour. But the reason that he was available to the Reds, and he was previously tried to be traded by the Marlins to, you know, San Diego, is the fact that he never really had the right zip code. And no one really wanted to stick with him long enough, and the Reds got him just at the right time. Put a little coaching on him, and here he is.
Well, that coaching began with Danny Darwin at AA Pensacola.
He did.
And Darwin now pitching coach with the big club, and it's continued.
You know,
balls and 2 strikes.
The temptation to get at a guy like Luis Castillo or Robert Stevenson or any young pitcher with a really great arm is to overcoach them. Have them start doing things that, you know, they never had to do in their whole life. And Darwin, I would imagine he just never does that. I mean, in conversations with him, you can just tell he's not the overcoaching type. If anything, he'll undercoach and let the kid kind of work it out himself. If he gets off track, he'll get him back on track. And that's really the fine line that really good coaches have to tread.
Payoff pitch. Walked him. Castillo would like to have that pitch back. Only the 2nd walk given up by Castillo here tonight. And
here comes Jim Riggleman, but he's jogging out.
Yep.
And it kind of reminds me of, you know, what Sparky Anderson used to do. If Sparky would walk to the mound, you knew your night was over. If he was jogging out, he was coming out to talk to you.
Yep. And if he was walking out, he would walk. I remember him having that jacket on. He's going to take him out.
He's jogging out to take him out.
Pulls the old fast one. So Castillo's night is done, and he will leave with a career-high 11 strikeouts. And the Reds will call on David Hernandez to try to close the door here in the 7th. 4-0 Reds. And Luis Castillo's like, takes the ball away like, you sure? Smile. Castillo is a bit of a jokester.
Well, he's a really great kid, and I'm glad to see he didn't want to come out. I think that's a pretty quick hook, to be honest with you. For a guy with 104 pitches, you have a 4-run lead. You're trying to get your pitchers to go deep into a ball game, and with a 2-out walk in the bottom of the order coming up, you go get them. But this part of the Reds bullpen has been good.
David Hernandez versus Harrison Bader. The first pitch, swing and a miss.
Same scouting report holds true for Hernandez as does Castillo against Bader. Make him reach.
One and one. In on the hands. Hernandez ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bader's faced Hernandez twice. 0 for 2. Plenty of room for Hamilton. And Hernandez picks up Castillo through 7. 4-0. Castillo's like a little body English. And thank you very much. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We look forward to Reds Live, the post-game edition. And Castillo, look to the sky, and off to the clubhouse he goes.
Did a nice job, 11 strikeouts as it turns out for Luis Castillo tonight. Tyler Mahle is the only Reds pitcher this year that has had games with more than 10. Mahle had 11 against the Braves back in April and then 12 against the Milwaukee Brewers at the very end of June. So Castillo joins that 11 strikeout club here tonight.
Peraza sends Bader back towards the track. Out number 1 here in the 8th. Tyson Ross still on the hill for the Cardinals. Has yielded 1 run. The RBI earlier in this game, Joey Votto ties Big Clue 7th on the all-time Reds list. Easy out here, though. 2 outs and Scooter Gennett. One and 1 the count to Gennett. Batting average sitting at .317. And indeed, he went back to that lighter colored show bat. The darker version that was broken earlier in this game. Fair ball. And Matt Adams is going to give a stare down to first base umpire Ed Hickox.
And he really should, because Hickox looked like he got in the way right there. An embarrassing moment for an umpire when you get hit with a ball or you're involved in the play in one way or another. This ball was right on the line, and Adams dives for it, but in the scramble, he kind of gets tangled up down there. Nightmares, it's an umpire's nightmare right there. You're trying the best to just stay out of the way, and sometimes it doesn't happen.
Reds have a 2-out base runner out of it. And here's Suarez. Hits tonight for Gennett. Last 4 starts for Scooter, 4 multi-hit games. A bit of a skid after the All-Star break, has turned up the wick, particularly of late and into the break. leading the National League in hitting. Suarez, and there's no chance they'll get him here. Infield base hit. And here comes Mike Schilt to the mound. I know that's pitching coach Mike Maddox. Beg your pardon?
Yeah, they're just now getting the bullpen going. They don't have anybody down there warming up. Now they're going to hustle up a left-hander to get going.
And that would be Tyler Webb cranking it up.
Buy a little time and wait out there on the pitcher's mound until the home plate umpire Jerry Meals comes up to break it up.
Not sure Mike Maddox has ever had a talk with the pitcher without his arm on the shoulder.
You're right about that.
And then the pat on the chest. Follow Fox Sports Ohio on Twitter, the land of Chris Welsh. You can relive and share great moments, game updates, and hear from players before and after games. Follow along at Fox Sports OH on the Twitter.
You read that with a little different level of enthusiasm than Tom does.
Oh, not
for
going
whatever
there.
reason.
Not going there. Yeah, Tom's more of a blog guy.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Well played, lefty. Well played. I was looking for a little two-out bingo here. Scott Shebler last time up, ripped a double, scored. Head on second base, Suarez on first. He's looking for a little add-on here. Short right field. Retire Shebler and retire the Reds in the eighth. Red Strand 2. Lead by 4.
Authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
David Hernandez back on the hill for the Reds. He came on and picked up Luis Castillo to get out of the 7th. And here he'll face Jairo Munoz. Pinch hitter, and then the top of the order for the Cardinals. It was a disastrous night for Reds pitching last night. Tonight, so far so good. And really good. Lefty Greg Garcia in the on-deck circle for the Cardinals. Just a long, loud strike. Reds have double-barreled action in the pen. Lefty-righty, Peralta, Iglesias. Time called. Three and one. Suarez, Peraza, and it's Peraza giving way. China Red Legs when they take on the Padres Saturday, September 8th. You see it for as low as $12. Thanks to Queen City Sausage, the first 20,000 are going to get the very cool Joe Morgan replica statue. Join the Reds in celebrating the 5th anniversary of the Hall of Famer's bronze statue dedication. Tickets, log on to Reds.com. Here is Greg Garcia. Hit in the pitcher spot. And a first pitch strike from Hernandez. Sellout crowd hasn't had much to cheer about here tonight. Hernandez trying to keep it that way. 46,368. It is the 20th sellout of the season here at Busch Stadium. And a beautiful night for baseball. Hot and sticky to start, but Hamilton out number 2. Top of the order, Matt Carpenter. Carpenter 1 for 3, single. Also had a stolen base in the first, but he was stranded right there. He had one of the 2 hits for the Cardinals so far on the night. Two and out. Carpenter's 35 home runs, 4 clear of Arenado, Aguilar, Goldschmidt for the National League lead. Cardinals cut into that Cubs lead last night in the NL Central. And right now the Cubs trying to rebound. 7-1 they lead Philly top of the 9th. Milwaukee 3-1 over Washington top of the 8th. Scores hold up. Milwaukee will move into the #1 wild card spot.
Now, it's been a nice comeback game for the Reds tonight after basically had an ugly game last night. It turned out probably worse score-wise than it actually was during the game, but it started bad, went downhill. The Reds battled back and then lost it again late in the game. But to come right back here, you know, against a team who is desperately trying for wins and be able to hold on here to a 4-0 lead and make it a rubber game tomorrow.
Yeah, a chance to stop this series victory streak of the Cardinals. (3-2) to Carpenter, and he walked it. I hate to see that with a 4-run lead. And here comes Jim Riggleman. And he will go right to home plate umpire Jerry Meals. We'll see a double switch here. And we'll reset the situation on the other side. Back that up. New career high, 11 strikeouts tonight. He goes 6 2/3, just 2 hits, no runs. A terrific night for the youngster Luis Castillo.
I mean, this is the kind of a night for Castillo. You know, had the Reds not been in the situation they are in, where you know they're just trying to get a win. They want Jim Riggleman pulling out every stop and going to his bullpen. You know, very quickly tonight. I mean, this is the kind of night that you could see Castillo going, you know, 8 complete.
Yep.
He was in that kind of command. So the Reds will go to their hammer in the bullpen, Raisel Iglesias, with 2 outs and a runner on and a 4-run lead.
And this Busch Stadium crowd, not much to cheer about right now. The chant is Yachty as Molina swings and misses at the first offering from Iglesias. Double switch. Mason Williams is in right field replacing Shebler. He'll bat 9th in the order. Pitcher spot is the 6th spot. Check swing and he went, says Jerry Meals. 0-2. Lays off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Count holds at 1-2. Two balls and 2 strikes. Primetime matchup here, Iglesias v. Molina. Two pitch. Again, he lays off. From 0-2 to 3-2. Barnhart hanging the signs. Iglesias has what he wants. Here comes the payoff. It's outside. Back walks.
What Riggleman should be afraid of right here is that Iglesias runs into problems and elevates his pitch count to the point where he may not be available from multi-inning save tomorrow. So it all starts kind of a chain reaction as to when you go to get your starting pitcher. He was hoping that Hernandez would pitch 1 out in the 7th and then pitch a clean 8th inning. He almost did. He retired the first 2 he faced and then walked the batter, and that's when Riggleman went to get him. But your hammer's in the game now.
And this is hammer versus hammer. 3-batter Jose Martinez. Batting average sitting at .312 despite the 0 for 3 night. And perhaps a 7-game hitting streak on the line here. Five straight pitches out of the zone by Iglesias. Gets a strike here, 1-1. Seen a lot of those reactions from Martinez here tonight.
Well, what a pick by Barnhart right there. 97 backhand. I mean, about 2.5 feet off the plate. I mean, that's the kind of throw that your coach throws in a blocking drill, and he throws it so wide, he says, "I'm sorry."
Yeah. Yeah, if that goes to the backstop, that can be an inning changer.
Well, if you're that wild with your pitch away from the plate, you could be wild in the strike zone. Not that time. That same spot all night long has really frustrated Martinez.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back walks. No problemo To the ninth we go.
Play of the month of August, and it's Phillip Ervin who just happens to be coming up the bat here. August 17th versus San Francisco with his first career walk-off home run, bottom of the 11th inning against the San Francisco Giants, and no doubt about that one. A big shot, and this kid is really making a name for himself, and he's on deck to lead off the inning. Jim, Chris?
Well, those moments that he'll be telling for many, many years. Not sure there's anything better in baseball than a walk-off home run. New pitcher in the ninth, Ty Webb.
Second time the Reds will see a player that the Cardinals picked up off the waiver wire this year from the San Diego Padres. Tyson Rosser earlier in this ball game, and Tyler Webb has been around. In fact, he was on the Reds' radar way back in 2011 when they drafted him in the 48th round. He did not sign, and eventually drafted and signed by the Yankees.
First pitch swinging. Ervin out number one.
Ervin kind of quiet. 0 for 5 last night, 1 for 4 tonight.
I wonder if Tyler Webb goes by Tyler and not Ty because of the movie Caddyshack. Because if he's Ty Webb, there's a lot of jokes to be told. Barnhart past the diving shortstop DeYoung, and back-to-back base hits for Barnhart.
Both sharply hit, and both on either side of the second base bag. Barnhart's had a good night. I mean, this is the kind of night that as a catcher you're really happy because, you know, you did such a great job with your starting pitcher, Luis Castillo. Drove in a run. A couple of hits to his credit here tonight.
And here's Mason Williams, who came in on that double switch an inning ago. Take his first at bat of the night.
When the Reds drafted Webb, he was in high school in Virginia. He ended up going to the University of South Carolina and played baseball there for the Gamecocks. Was a member of their College World Series championship team in 2010 and 11. Later became their closer.
1-1. Strike called. Wow. Mason
Took the
Williams
words
has
right
the
out of
same
Mason Williams' mouth.
Yeah. I mean, all right. Let's move the game along, apparently. Billy Hamilton on deck. Count holds it 2-2. The final in Philadelphia, Chicago's 7-1 winners tonight. Javier Baez did have an RBI in that game, so that is 99 for him. And Suarez right on his heels at 98 for that 2 RBI double earlier in the game. Milwaukee still leading 3-1 over Washington, although that game is delayed in the top of the 8th. Ouch. Nice play by Webb. Double play to end the night for the Reds, but the Reds will carry a 4-0 lead into the bottom of the 9th. For 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Ram, it's the no comparison event at your Ram dealer. Don't miss the great deals on Ram today. Four 0 Reds. As Iglesias shut the door in the 8th, will try to do so here in the 9th. Matt Adams, Tyler O'Neill, Paul DeYoung scheduled for the Cardinals. And a first pitch strike for big Matt Adams. Iglesias ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Way upstairs. 2-2. 2-2. 3-2. Not even close on back-to-back teams. Iglesias needs a strike. Sent the other way to right at Irvin. Reaches up.
Second time tonight that Matt Adams has just stalled the ball going opposite and has nothing to show for it.
Yep.
It's a big old hang with him right there.
Here's Tyler O'Neill. And a miss. One ball, one strike to Tyler O'Neill. Bidding for a shutout here. Cardinals have been shut out 5 times this season, once each month. One-two pitch. 2-2. Iglesias has missed. He has missed way out of the zone. Strike 3 called. Locks up O'Neill. Cardinals down to their final out.
Yeah, you can call the way that Iglesias is pitching tonight effectively wild. I'm not really sure where that ball is going to be. This one is right on the edge.
Two outs and Paul DeYoung. The right-hand batter's box. First pitch strike, fastball, 97 right down the can. Oh, 2. One and 2. Young stays alive. Count holds at 1 and 2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out to end the ball game. So the Cardinals win the most games in all of baseball in the month of August, but here in the first day of September, the Reds hang an L on them. They even up this 3-game set at a game apiece as Castillo, Hernandez, Iglesias combine on a 2-hit shutout. 4-0 the final score. And as promised, it's time for a Miller Lite Hold True moment, and the moments belong to Luis Castillo here tonight.